Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this video on document annotation. My name is Miss Jennifer Blank, and I will be your guide on this journey. So, before we get into the nitty-gritty of actually experiencing document annotation, let me give you a couple of tips and tricks and pointers for what you should do. You should ask questions and answer them while you read. You should summarize passages. You should always consider an author's point of view. You want to search for bias. Now, it doesn't mean you can't use the source, but it is helpful to know if an author is coming from a very particular perspective. You want to analyze word choices. All right, if an author is using loaded language or very strong language, that gives you a sense of how they view the topic, and that's going to give you more information. You want to make connections between a document and when it was written. So if the document was written yesterday versus 200 years ago, you need to consider that, because that's going to, again, allow you to get more information about that document. You also want to make sure you write the definitions of unknown words. This is probably one of the most important things to do, and not as many students do it as they should. If you don't understand what the meaning of a word is, it's going to harm your ability to understand the rest of the document. So even if you have to look up every other word for a while, just suck it up and get it done. All right, some key things to remember. You need to have proper materials. All right, that's a pen, pencil, highlighter. All right, you need these materials. I mean, obviously you need the document, because what are you going to annotate if there's no document in front of you? So you should have those things. You should highlight only important phrases. Emphasis on phrases, ladies and gentlemen, because if you're highlighting the whole paragraph, you're kind of missing the point, right? The idea of a highlighter is to have really, really important stuff stand out. All right, but if you highlight the whole paragraph, then nothing is standing out, and you're not really getting the main idea of the document. You also want to write notes next to the highlights. If you think a phrase is important, why is it important? Like, why'd you highlight it? Like, you may forget that. You're going to go back to it a week later and be like, why'd I highlight that? I don't know what I was thinking. So you need to write a note next to everything you highlight. You must, I cannot overemphasize this enough, you must circle words you don't know and then look them up. And you should write any thoughts, opinions, or questions about the document in the margin. This is very, very important. All right, so here is an excerpt from a document. This document is about classical liberalism. Now, what I would like you to do is pause this video. I want you to pause this video right now, and I want you to print this. I want you to print this, and I want you to annotate it based on what I just told you to do. And take a couple minutes and do it. And then I want you to play the video again from where you left off, and you're going to see some examples. All right, now that you've done this annotation on your own, I hope, this is what I highlighted in that first paragraph. So I focused on the top sentence here because it introduces the topic. This is the topic sentence. So it lets me know that before the 20th century, classical liberalism was the thing. It was the political philosophy. That lets me know that during the 20th century, there was a very, very different philosophy going on. So I would make a note of that on the side in the margins. I would write that down. And then when you go down towards the bottom, there's a sentence in the middle that says many of the emancipationists who opposed slavery were essentially classical liberals. Well, I wonder where his sources are, because he doesn't have a footnote or any kind of MLA citation. So I might write next to that, what is his source? How does he know this? And this is the second paragraph. So here we have a definition. Classical liberalism is the belief in liberty. Perfect. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to circle it. I'm going to draw a little arrow off of it, and I'm going to say definition, and I'm going to star it to let myself know that this is really important. And then there's another line there that I also have highlighted. Most people believed that rights came from government. That's what most people believed before classical liberalism. But our founders believed something different. And at the bottom of the paragraph, that last two sentences, those last two sentences I have highlighted, says people have rights apart from government as part of their nature. Further, people can form governments and dissolve them. The only legitimate purpose of government is to protect these rights. Now, when I read this, I immediately think of John Locke and natural rights when John Locke is mentioned in the paragraph. So I'm going to draw a little offshoot and say natural rights. Very important. Now, that's the end of the PowerPoint, but let me take you to an image of, and I know it's a little blurry, but just bear with me. This is the actual document, and I have taken a picture of my annotations. So just so you can see what this looks like, what you see in front of you is an image of a page that I've annotated myself, and it's from the same document that we just had the example from a little bit ago. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this a little bit so that you can kind of see what we're looking at. So you see where I've had things highlighted, and you can see I noted that this was the definition of CL, and I was using shorthand because CL stands for classical liberalism. So that is going to help you keep remember things if you develop your own shorthand. And then I looked over here. You can see at the bottom right there, I talked about natural rights and life, liberty, and property. And then I say that this sentence also involves the proper role of government, should protect natural rights. That's what it says down here. Now, this middle paragraph here where the mouse is, that's interesting because it talks about these things of economic and civil liberties. And according to classical liberalism, according to this document, economic and civil liberties are basically equal to each other. But then I have a question written here, what is this? What are economic and civil liberties? So, like a very good student, I went and I looked it up. And I wrote that on the top of the page. And you can see that over here. Economic liberty, the definition is there, and civil liberties, the definition is there. So I hope this provided you with a decent overview of how to annotate documents. And I hope you learned what you need to, and I will see you next time.